Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
Is he an underrated player, an overrated player, or do you think he's properly rated?
I don't know that he's all-time 50 greatest players.
We need to address sidekicks, Patrick, because stars like Patrick get a lot of credit, but I think the sidekicks deserve a little bit more.
This is Sharp Money with Patrick Meagher on VSiN, the sports betting network.
30-second shot clock. I'll do the judging today, Thomas Gable, and then we'll mix it up potentially next week. On the clock first is actually Mike Palm. He won the coin toss with Jeezy the dog backstage. So let's get into it. The biggest draft bust in your lifetime NFL-wise is who, Mike Palm?
Great question. This could be a handful of choices. I'm going to go with 1999, the third pick by the Cincinnati Bengals, Akili Smith. Remember Akili Smith? All he did was go 3-12 as a starter for the Bengals. Completion percentage for his career, Patrick, in the NFL, 46%, 5 touchdowns against 13 interceptions, 3 years out the door, never seen again.
Good one. Dustin.
I'm going to go with the obvious answer for my lifetime, and it's Jamarcus Russell, because bust would imply expectations. And when you looked at the prospect of Jamarcus Russell, he was unlike anything we'd seen at the quarterback position. The size, the ability to throw it from anywhere, the rumors that he could throw it from one knee 80 yards in the air. And the reason he's the biggest bust is because he only lasted 3 seasons. To be a number 1 overall pick and have that talent and to not even stay on as a backup shows you how little he cared about actually playing football. No one expected a number 1 pick to not at least have a 5, 6, 7-year career in the league.
Dustin Swedelson, we talked about Stadium Swim. You're bringing friends to Stadium Swim for one event. What's the best event at Stadium Swim?
I'm very happy you said event, Patrick, because to me, it is the Masters. It is golf. I do believe that venue, Stadium Swim, where I've spent many a great day that I don't remember, is built for a multi-day event where you can kind of stretch out and enjoy it and have the drinks and camaraderie. And with golf, you don't have to be locked in the entire time. You can check in as things happen, look up at the screen. It's built perfectly for the drinking, the dining, being social and having a good time, and you'll always get replays of the big moments. So to me, the Masters, because the weather in April is perfect here in Vegas.
The best event I've ever attended out there was Triple G versus Canelo, Patrick. It's either a big boxing match or a huge UFC card because the excitement of the people, and in the evening, as we talked about how crisp the colors are, the people get all dressed up, and it's just a frenzy for hours. A little different than Dustin's experience of the Masters on a sunny afternoon and enjoying yourself. This, as far as action per second and voltage, is not toppable.
Okay. A lot of draft, a lot of wide receivers in this year's draft. Let's go. Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. In our lifetime, who is the third best wide receiver you've seen, Mike Palm?
A snap call here is Megatron. I mean, the 3 years he had from 2011 to 2013 where he averaged 110 yards a game, probably the best 3-year stretch of any wide receiver. How about on a team that went 0-16 in 2008? He went for 1,350 yards and 12 touchdowns. He simply was, for a short period of time, the very best, and I have him at number 3.
Unfortunately, I have the same answer as Mike Palm. 9-year career, but he was barely human. He was built in a lab. He's everything you want a receiver to be. A size-speed combination that shouldn't exist, an ability to go up and get the ball, to make plays in space, 3 All-Pros, averaged more than 110 yards per game in a season, almost had 2,000 yards in 2012, and as the great philosopher Giselle once said, my husband cannot throw and catch the ball himself. He had Dan Orlovsky at one point throwing him the ball, and he had 1,300 yards that season. Put him in a different class than everyone else. He is an alien at the position.
Dustin, the best sports month, 1 month, is of the calendar year?
Well, I think there's a very clear debate. It's April versus October. And I understand why people think that April is incredible, but to me it's October. There's a vibe where college football, there's a misconception that later in the year is better. Au contraire. I like when conference schedule first gets going in college football. The NFL picture is being painted. We can see who are the contenders and pretenders. The World Series is going on. You combine that with the fact that NHL, college basketball, and the NBA all get going. I like the vibes of October with that crisp in the air.
I agree with Dustin. I don't think it's the spring. I think it's the fall. It's the best football month by far. This is when you get all your conference matchups. The only good week in November is the final week when you get rivalry games. You're right about the NFL. This is where the season takes shape, and you get your contenders from your pretenders. It's the entire baseball playoffs, right, from the wild card all the way up through the World Series. And hockey gets underway. NBA gets underway. If you punch all the numbers, you can't put March or April next to it.
Mike Palm, Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
Is he an underrated player, an overrated player, or do you think he's properly rated?
I don't know that. I will say overrated, because I don't know that he's all-time 50 greatest players. He had a great luxury of playing with Michael. And in the years when Michael wasn't there, he couldn't will that team across the top. And at the end of the day, what you'll remember about Scottie Pippen is when they designed a play that wasn't for him, and he sat on the bench because he didn't want to be the guy throwing the ball in bounds.
I think Scottie Pippen is actually a little underrated. See, when you're Michael Jordan, it's real easy to do what you do. Get yours, get your buckets, defend the second best player on the other team. When Scottie Pippen's the guy having to do the dirty work. He's locking in whoever the best guy is on the wing for the opposing team. He's the guy who's going to set you up the best offensively. He can run the point. And I think we need to address sidekicks, Patrick, because stars like Patrick get a lot of credit. But I think the sidekicks deserve a little bit more.
What an idiot. Dustin, this will be interesting because you guys haven't spent the same amount of time there. Honest answer about Las Vegas. Yeah. Is it a great sports town, or is it a betting and entertainment town?
I think it's an extremely knowledgeable sports town, but that does not make it a great sports town. I think people know a lot about sports, but a great sports town to me implies that the local teams can go through the ups and downs and have that loyalty. We've yet to see that take place. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I want to see when the struggles are really happening, will this fan base stick by their teams and ride with them? Because to me, a city like Cleveland is in a class in and of itself as a great sports town. Because up or down, those people care. I don't know if Vegas fans truly care about these teams when things are bad.
Patrick, I dismiss the or and say it's both. And I will tell you that the AAA team sells out every game. The Aces lead the WNBA in attendance. There's no other venue like T-Mobile for Golden Knights games. When they host all these college events here and college tournaments here, they are sellouts in whatever venue. They right-size them to the venues. I think it's a great sports, a burgeoning, to your point, burgeoning great sports town. And then if you consider the sports part of the entertainment, second to none in the world.
Mike Palm, the better draft class as far as quarterbacks. Yeah. Was it 85, Elway, Kelly, and Marino, or 04, Big Ben, Eli, and Phillip Rivers?
No, it's the 83, actually, Patrick, class of Elway, Kelly, and Marino. And I think objectively, if you just take those three, I would side with the 83 class. 8 Super Bowls compared to 4. I know you can measure the championships. They have a few more yards thrown because Kelly only threw for 35,000 because he was in the USFL. But let's go down beyond that. Who's after that in 04? J.P. Lossman was also in the first round from Tulane to the Bills. Give me Kenny O'Brien and 25,000 career yards. Craig Krenzel from Ohio State was taken in the 5th round. I'll take Tony Eason, who led the 85 Patriots to the Super Bowl. Jim Sorgi, okay, he was a backup for a while. Give me Todd Blackledge, became a great announcer. Oh, by the way, Gary Kubiak was also drafted in the 8th round. A credit to the coaching profession.
It don't mean a thing if you ain't got them rings. And when it comes to 2003, Big Ben and Eli combined for more rings than that other group. John Elway's the only one with the titles. You're drafting quarterbacks. The only thing that quarterback's supposed to do, bring championships along the way. Big Ben 2 in 03. Eli 2 from the 03 class. You can act like the regular season matters. You can act like those stats mattered. When the lights were the brightest, when it mattered the most, those two teams delivered like Moses and took their teams to the promised land.
I had written down after the 83 draft class answer by Mike Palm, the best answer of the day was Mike's answer about the quarterbacks. Dustin, you just turned it into a push.
Very nice.
Shout out to Moses.
I would say the theme today is one of the two had a little extra flair today. And I'll tell you where the flair stood out. Calling Giselle a philosopher made me laugh. So Dustin wins the wide receiver because you both had Megatron. Draft bus was Akili Smith. I gave the answer to Mike. Circa, that was a push. Pippen, Dustin calling him a sidekick and putting me down actually made him win that one. Vegas push. And then 83, Dustin came through with a push. 2-1 Dustin Swedelson today. And I wrote down flair. He had a certain flair about him today. Mike Palmer, are you good with it?
I'm good with it. Great with it.
Dustin, your speech.
Thank you to the Old Testament for giving me the inspiration to move past Mike today.